Adventure in Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Yo, it's the Pipeman. It's Motivational Monday and our Positively Pipeman segment. And we have, again, our resident expert on business that's going to share some powerful business strategies with us. So let's welcome to the show, Michael Barbarita. How are you?
Thank you, Dean. Great to be here. So today's segment is on something that business owners miss out on again, as is most of the strategies that we talk about, and that is packaging and bundling services together. Now, one of the 5 components that make an offer compelling is packaging and bundling, because there's a perception of value when you package things together. When I was in the ski retail business, everybody packaged skis, bindings, and skis, bindings, and poles. Sometimes skis, bindings, boots, and poles, but mostly skis, bindings, and poles. What we did in addition to that, and the reason why the industry always did that is because there's a perception of value when you put things together. So, but what we did is we extended that out to many different areas of the business. We had packages with skis, bindings, poles, and certain accessories like goggles, so that everything would be together. We did it with multiple scenarios. And one of the most successful things we did that nobody did, even after it was successful, which I can't believe, is we took the most popular ski graphics from the best-selling skis, and we went to the clothing department, and we matched up those graphics with a sweater, a parka, pant, and hat. Four-component clothing package, and they flew out the door. Yeah. Because, once again, the perception of value. And yes, if you added up the components, okay, it would be more expensive individually if you bought it a la carte, but only by a fraction. It wasn't like, oh my God. And what we ended up doing is, because the customers stood away from the a la carte because they wanted to buy the package, is we increased the average dollar per sale of the customer. And it works famously. And so business owners need to understand what they can package and bundle together so that they can give a better perception of value and make their offer more compelling. And so it was a great way to show the customer more value, and it was a creative way of packaging more products. And we did it in accessories too, with sunglasses, goggle combinations. And so it was goggle glove combinations. Those things were incredibly valuable, and they flew out the door. And despite the success of it, nobody copied it, and that's what's so amazing to me.
Right?
That we can have that success that nobody copied it, because when you're in the retail business, you know exactly what your competitors are doing. You shop their stores, right? And you know exactly what the competitors are doing. And you see what the customer traffic is like. You see what customers are attracted to. And despite all that, competitors never packaged clothing, ever. Wow. It was unbelievable. Yeah.
Well, and what's amazing, you're talking about retail, because before I was in this business, before I was in the financial business, I was in retail for 10 years since I was young, in the pool and spa business and patio furniture as well. And so I remember I worked at this place, Harrow's. It had been around for 60 years. And they gave you this book to sell with. The book was for pricing. And people would come to buy a pool, as an example. And you'd tell them how much the pool was, how much the filter was, how much this was, how much. And it was like 10 different items. And see, this is why I talk about packaging all the time, because people love to get a deal, and they perceive a package as a deal, and they need all this stuff anyway. Even,
Right.
you know, you referenced in one of the other episodes about McDonald's. Not many people know this, but when you buy a value meal at McDonald's, which is
That's a
packaged,
package.
it's a penny more than if you bought it all separately.
I know.
Okay?
I know. I don't usually recommend that, but
Right. You know, but but people will buy it. And even the
right.
people I know that I tell them, listen, just buy it separately. You're paying the same price. Nah, because they also want it to be easy. They don't
Yeah.
want it to be overcomplicated. And so what would happen is I was always, out of 9 stores, the number one pool salesperson of the whole chain, because I was the only one that did something that nobody else was doing. Again, blew my mind that even my competitors on the sales floor weren't
Right.
doing it. But I just decided, you know what? I'm not going to do this nickel and diming stuff, because I don't like when it's happened to me. And that's what it is when you say, well, if you want this and if you want this, and it's just nickel and diming. It turns people off. It's more for them to think about. It's more for them to say no to. So many myriad of reasons why it's not a good idea. And I just used to say to them, okay, if you want the pool with everything, it's this. And what I did was I created my own packages that also included the highest commission, the best of everything, you know, and that goes back to one of your previous episodes. It allowed me to downsell, you know, so
right.
if whatever package I gave them was too much for them, or they didn't need certain things, I could say, well, we could do this type of thing.
Right.
But it was still a package, and people don't really necessarily always want to know all the details of what they're getting. So I had packages with DE filters, but then I could downsell them to a sand filter, you know,
Sure.
which would be less money. And they don't really know the difference and all that stuff, and they don't really want to know, most of them, you know, and then they just want to know they're getting a good deal. They want to know they're getting everything that they need in the package. And they'll buy the whole package and in turn end up spending more, because what also happens, as you know, is they'll start asking what they could do without, and they'll start taking things off if you nickel and dime them. Well, do I really need the filter? You know,
Yeah.
you know, and they will literally ask a question like that, which is silly, but that's what people do when you nickel and dime them like that, and they can't figure the math out in their head, you know, so they'd rather just know, here's what I'm spending, here's what I'm getting. And because of that, like on a day like Labor Day, which is one of the biggest sale days in the year, okay, or Black Friday, people were lined out the door, and other salespeople would be sitting there with people for like an hour because they had to explain what all the different things is. And while they were with those people for an hour, it took me 5 minutes to sell the pool, because instead of saying, well, if you want this filter and you want this and you want, I'd say, here it is. Here's the pool. Comes with everything. You don't need anything else. And basically write it up. And I would, where other salespeople would sell 2-3 pools a day because they didn't even have time to talk to other customers, I would sell 17.
Oh, wow. Jesus
so
gracious.
there, because I would just line people up.
Yeah,
when you have
right.
packages, I used to literally line people up. Oh, okay, whoever wants a pool, come over here. You know, and pitch them all. Here's what we got. Pick your size. Comes with everything. You know,
Unbelievable.
So to your point,
yeah. And to your point about convenience, who does it really well is the Chinese restaurants at lunch. They have the number 1, the number 2, the number 3. Those are all packages. And so it's so simple. I'll have a number 5. Okay, the guy writes down 5 on his pad, and that's it. And, you know, talk about simplicity, to your point about packages. They are simple.
Right. Yeah. And I'm the same way at Chinese restaurants. Sometimes I'll buy the combo just because of the perceived value, even though I don't want everything in it. Or like Japanese restaurants for lunch. I love when they have the bento boxes, and I may not want everything in it, but it's like, okay, that looks like a full meal and I get a variety and I get everything.
Right. Unbelievable. Well, you're making me hungry.
I know, me too.
So We went over some of the benefits of packaging and bundling today, but there's a lot more information again.
Well, and I definitely want them to get it because I've dealt with you for quite a while, and you could be an immense help to anybody listening to this or anybody they know. And, we touched the surface with this subject. There's so much more to know. How do people get more information about this? How do they discover your secret in book interview?
Yes.
Promotion.
Yes. Absolutely. Yes.
How do they reach out to you, Michael?
So they go to nextstepcfo.net. They can download our book for free, but also they can ask for a book interview, which I promise you'll learn business and financial strategies that your competition isn't doing. Just go to nextstepcfo.net/contact. Fill out the contact form, put in the message center book in the message box book interview, or you just want to talk and talk about CFO services or strategic implementation, how we go about it. Be happy to talk to you about that as well.
Well, once again, a wealth of information, a wealth of help for business owners and even people that are just working at a company. Like I was saying before, I wasn't the owner. I was a salesperson. This information given to me at that point in time would be immenseful, like so helpful. And again, made me make a lot of money because of it, this type of information. So everybody reach out to Michael. He's amazing. Next Step CFO, they will get you to the next step and the next level. And thank you once again, Michael, for being on the Adventures of Pipeman, Positively Pipeman segment.
Thanks for having me, Dean.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.